Welcome to As the Story Grows. I'm Brian Patton. Today we welcome Smirk frontman Nick Vicario to the podcast. The new Smirk record, Speculative Fiction, is out today on Smoking Room Records. Nick talks about getting national coverage at the age of 12, his lifelong pursuit of creating music, moving across the country, wanting to create a more mature Smirks record, and more. Thanks so much for checking out this episode of As the Story Grows. If you're brand new to the podcast, welcome. You can find links in our show notes or at asthestorygrows.com for our mailing list, our Discord server, and our Patreon page, where $1 a month will get you early access to every episode. Enjoy today's conversation with Nick from Smirk.
Yes, definitely something different musically, and this is my second podcast ever, so that too.
Nice.
Your name's Brian, right?
Yes, yeah.
I'm Nick.
Yeah, nice to meet you. I know you're currently an East Coaster, but you grew up in Portland?
Grew up in Portland and started this band in LA.
Nice. What was growing up in Portland like?
Man, it was perfect as far as I remember.
Yeah.
It was before the whole Portland boom. So, yeah. I went to elementary school and onward there.
Yeah.
And I loved it, man. It was everyone in the music scene there was so supportive. It was still pretty, not hippy dippy. That's not the right word, but it was a lot of artists. It was very free for flowing in that way. And I feel like that really shaped who I was. I miss it.
Nice. The only, I've never been to Portland and everything is like the caricature from Portlandia. So
Totally.
It's like,
I marked that the year Portlandia premiered is when Portland probably died.
Probably.
But it really is like that, is this sad thing.
I'm sure this is a caricature of something that's actually taking place.
I know. I'd
Not
like
to this extreme, though.
Right. Sometimes it really was.
Yeah. What got you into music, and kind of what is that moment where you're just like, oh, this is a thing I want to do and pursue with my life?
Well, if we're going way back, what got me into music, my dad was a drummer. So when I was super young, in Santa Rosa, California, where he was, I didn't really care that much at that point because he was my dad, and I kind of wanted to rebel. But after my mom ended up moving me to Portland in 1997. She would just play, she's a rocker, so she'd be playing Sonic Youth, Nirvana, Pearl Jam, and even some earlier punk bands, because she used to be a punk back then. And I was like, wait a minute, this shit rocks. And so I was put into a arts middle school in Portland and met a bunch of other kids that were starting a band, and I had no idea how to play an instrument, obviously, yet. And they said, do you want to play bass in our band? I joined, and I fell in love right there.
Nice. Because you're starting at such a young age, does it take you a while to, find your place in the scene and find your voice, or are you, pretty quickly?
That's the thing. Not really, because, since the band started in middle school, we were almost considered a novelty act in the Portland scene. However, I feel like we had pretty good songs. So bands from around town would start asking us to play gigs, and someone offered to put out a 7-inch. And so we were like, hell yeah, I have no idea what any of that means, but let's do it. So we did. My first 7-inch came out when I was 12, and the record label actually had, connections to Maximum Rock and Roll and Razor Cake. So it kind of popped off in that way. And so we were getting national coverage when I was that young. And yeah, it was wild. So fun. And then, of course, the local scene continued to take us in. We were playing shows a lot at that point. And our parents even actually, right after the LP came out when I was 13, our parents, put us into their Winnebago and drove us down to Gilman Street. We played a couple shows in the Bay.
Oh, jeez.
And I was locked in after that.
Man, is that how you spent like all your teenage years? I mean, has it just been pursuit of music and kind of no, like, I guess that's just normal for you, right?
Yes, definitely. I've been doing that since then. I'm not good at much else, and it only grew from there.
Yeah. What eventually takes you down to LA? Is it just the continual pursuit of music, something specific?
Definitely, yeah. So I spent, whatever the next 20 years in Portland, just being very involved in that scene, touring Europe, touring the US that whole time. And it was great, but I wanted to actually start trying to make money doing it. So, going down to LA so often, I met a lot of people over the years and decided that was, the next logical step for me. So I moved there when I was like 28.
Okay.
And yeah, it was great. It was a great opportunity. Nice. to be able to move there because I was broke, but somehow it worked.
Yeah.
And yeah.
It is so funny that how many aspiring artists, whether that's actors, musicians, whatever, find their way to California. And it's like, it's expensive as fuck. And none of these people have money, right?
Exactly. Even actors. Yeah. Right. Exactly. So I did that. Luckily found cheap, renting a cheap punk house and just started a band immediately when I was there.
Yeah, let's talk about Smirk. What was the kind of catalyst for this project?
So before Smirk, during my final years in Portland, I had a band called Public Eye. And that was kind of like a post-punk, almost garage punk band. And that fell apart. So then I moved and I was like, I have all these Public Eye songs for the next record. But, I just figured I'd make a new band with these same songs. So I did, and I did it as a solo project. Mm-hmm. Just to, I'm sick of dealing with other people in bands, in my band. So that worked out. And yeah, so during the pandemic, I just did 2 different cassette releases, very lo-fi, self-released, and then Feel It Records, which at the time was out of Richmond, Virginia, heard them and wanted to put them both on an LP. And that's when it kind of, for lack of a better term, took off.
Nice. What leads you to the East Coast? This press release talks about, trying to leave destructive habits or behavior behind. And but I guess why the East Coast? Was it just as far away as possible from where you grew up? I mean, it's not like you were trying to go to fucking North Dakota to seclude yourself. Totally.
A little bit of that, but mostly I reconnected with an old girlfriend of mine from college. We met in Portland, blah, blah, fell out of touch for a number of years. And then, I don't know, we just started talking again. And she was in Charleston, South Carolina. And I was like, I love LA. It's done a lot for me, but I've also been not treating myself or others the best I could have been there. I was dealing with some substance abuse stuff, and I had gotten, sort of past that, and I was just ready for a big change. So she said, come on over here, move to South Carolina.
Nice. What then leads you just up to Connecticut from there?
Yeah, so I get to Charleston, and I'm like, cool, can't wait to immerse myself in the local music scene, especially the punk scene. And boy, no disrespect to Charleston, but there is not much going on there for that.
Yeah.
So, and she'd been there for a while. She was kind of feeling the effects of that place. It's very popular. People are moving there in droves. So, traffic got crazy and everything, amongst other things. And I was like, I'd love to live somewhere on the East Coast where I can still do my music, and she can be, happier in a new place. So what we did is we just kind of drove up and down the East Coast and randomly found Fairfield, Connecticut. And the reason I was down for Fairfield is because it's so close to New York City.
Yeah.
So that helped with music stuff. And I knew people there that could play in my band, and it's easier to tour over there. So yeah, we ended up here.
Nice. Was it a difficult adjustment kind of coming to the East Coast and especially hanging out, spending a lot of time close to New York where, things are a little busier, people are a little more ruder, uptight, but as a lifelong East Coaster.
Yeah, where are you at?
DC.
Cool. Okay, yeah.
No,
it wasn't that crazy of a difference, really. I mean, we didn't move to New York because we wanted to kind of be, honestly, in the burbs and have a quieter life. And what comes with that is we get that, but also I can just drive, an hour and 10 minutes and be in Brooklyn. So it seemed like the perfect place for both of us at the time.
This new album is called Speculative Fiction. It's a little less, high-flying punk rock vibes, a little more, song structured. What led to the decision to kind of maybe reevaluate Smirk sound and the direction you were taking the band?
Well, when I started Smirk, I was that was in California, obviously, and I was just kind of trying to write this fast, but also some songs with some songcraft at the same time, and also just weird shit and also kind of funny shit. I just wanted to kind of just express how I was feeling at the time. And a lot of it's fast and a little goofy for sure.
Yeah.
But over the years, we toured so much on those songs. I just got kind of sick of what I don't want to say sick of the. Sorry, 1 second. Let me think about this.
Yeah.
Not so much. I just kind of grew weary of maybe the pageantry of the jokier, faster songs. And after the move, that's just not who I was. It wasn't how I was really feeling. And so with this new record, I wanted to kind of reflect how I was feeling now, at the time and now, which was, shit was pretty heavy. I moved, we got married, I was living in the burbs. And not to say I don't love all those things, but there, of course, there's an air of a little bit of darkness there, I'm bored here now because I don't know anybody. And so, for this new record, that's kind of it was written over 4 or 5 years. And it's just kind of a slow amalgamation of how I was really feeling inside, which was, I wanted to write a little bit of darker riffs. I wanted to make it more mid-tempo. The lyrics, I wanted to straight up, apologize to myself, to my friends, my family that I had maybe wronged when I was in California, so it came out this way.
Yeah. What led to the title of Speculative Fiction?
Well, that actually ties into what I was just saying, because I was generally and am pretty happy with my new life. And so I feel like writing a record about that would have been, a little not disingenuous, but I just wanted to take the time to reflect on the past 4 years of my life and like use that as the catalyst for some of the lyrics and the darker, like more minor key, slower songs that came on it. So it's kind of like a retrospective.
Yeah. Yeah. There's also a visual shift with the sonic shift, definitely away from the goofier into something kind of darker and reflective. Who came up with the cover art design?
My friend Dan Stanton, who's a wonderful photographer. He lives in Portland. I've been a fan of his photography for years, and I don't know, I just found this one photo he took like in the middle of nowhere and on a beach trip in Oregon. And I just thought it was funny and striking visually.
Yeah.
And so I asked if I could use that, and he was down.
Yeah. The logo and album titles very heavy metal in design.
Hell yeah. Thank you. I'm glad you said that.
the barbed wire with the blood. It's like, geez.
Totally. And that's stolen from a band called Criminal Class. They put out an old, kind of, I think, rare-ish 7-inch back in the day. And I was like, that font is sick, dude. I'm taking that.
Yeah. Yeah. You guys have one show. You have one show this summer in Baltimore at the Auto Bar. Being a dad and a husband changes your perspective on music and playing live, but what's the hope for trying to play live and take this out?
Well, yeah. So that show is part of a larger East Coast tour that is being announced the 25th, I believe, of this month. But the promoter just was like wanting to start getting the word out now. So that's just one of many shows that will be announced on the East Coast.
Nice. You're putting this album out with Smoking Room Records. How'd you get connected with that label for this release?
So I've known Sam, who runs it, for a long time now, and he actually did all of the art for every Smirk release, basically up until now. And I sent him, I didn't send him the record at this point, but I was like, hey, do you want to do art for this new one I have coming out? And he was like, yeah, for sure. Send me the record and I'll just try and get some inspo from that. And then he listened to it and he was like, whoa, this is sick. Let me put it out. Which I was very surprised.